Hello everybody, this is Track394 and welcome back to episode 32 of the Minecraft Let's Play. Thank you guys very much for joining me today. Today I got some really awesome plans for today. I plan on adding an Enderporter system to this Minecraft Let's Play world. With the recent updates in Minecraft 1.16, there's actually a feature added where Ender Pearls will now float inside of bubble columns created with soul sand, which basically gives me the ability to make it very easy now to create a whole bunch of Ender Porter systems connected to each other by redstone wires. So I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and start tearing out this area right here, and this is going to be the new Ender Porter station. And I plan on installing basically an Ender Porter network across the entirety of my Let's Play world here. That would go pretty much to all the locations where I usually go to. So my plans for this episode is to make an Enderporter that goes to spawn, one that goes to my house and the little storage system there, and one that goes to the village. I'll just plan on doing those three for this episode. And then eventually we can add more Enderporters, maybe ones that go longer distances. Maybe one day I can add an Enderporter that will take me to the stronghold base. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll show you guys what I've got planned for today. Alright, so I have the selector room created here. I haven't hooked up any of the redstone yet, but this is what it's going to look like. Basically, you have these buttons, and each of these signs will tell you where you want to go. And then you have 2 rows of these, so 14 destinations. I feel like that's plenty. I will probably not have 14 destinations in total, but it's good to have a lot of choices. But basically, the way that this system is going to work is you need to find the spot where you want to put your Enderporter, and you mine down 8 blocks. So 1, 2. Whoops, there's a hole here. I'll be right back. Okay, I apologize for that. That was a lack of planning on my part. So basically, you dig down 8 blocks. So I'm at the bottom of an 8-block hole. I'm starting at the top from where I want the Enderporter to be. I place down a piece of soul sand and then fill up the entire space with water. So you'll need 7 water buckets to totally fill everything up. And the last one. There we go. And as you can see, we now have a 7-block deep of water that has a bubble column. And if I take my ender pearl and I chuck it down here, you want to point directly at the middle, it'll come back up. And as you can see, it's going to float on top of the water, and it will stay there indefinitely until this trapdoor gets flipped. And then I will teleport to it. I just open up the trapdoor, and I toss another ender pearl, and the system has been reset. And basically, I plan on making this dropper drop an ender pearl for me, just to remind me to throw an ender pearl every single time. Because if I do not throw the ender pearl, then the system will not activate, and the ender portal will not work. So as long as there is an ender pearl suspended in the water column like this, and I get my ender pearl every single time, then the system should work. So all I have to do now is hook up the redstone. So making a selector panel is pretty easy. You just use a bunch of redstone torches or however you want to make it. But wiring all of these Enderporters together can be quite a doozy, especially when you're talking about long distances. It actually can be a little bit helpful to utilize this technology called instant wire, if you're not familiar with it, to make the signal travel instantly from one location to another inside of the loaded chunks. So I'll go ahead and drop into my my creative world to show you guys what I have so far. So stay tuned. Alright everybody, so welcome to the redstone testing world, and as you can see, I have been very busy. I have been basically testing all different types of redstone wire that I could find on the internet, and there are so many different types of redstone wire. There are bud piston types of instant redstone wire, there's retraction-based instant redstone wire, there's rail-based instant wire. There's so many different types of instant wire. But I have centered my attention on one variety of instant wire that I kind of used someone else's idea from. So a long time ago, there was this man named the Gunmaster Digital who created instant wire, two-directional instant wire, basically that could travel in one or another direction. For those of you who don't know what instant wire is, it's basically you can send a redstone signal instantly across an infinite distance. So just watch the light to the right. The moment I press this button, it's going to turn on. Boom. So there may have been a small amount of delay, but that was because of the button pressing down. But it's almost perfectly instant, and it works on the other side as well. So watch the other light. Boom, instant. Now, if there was a single redstone repeater set at 4 ticks, you would notice how this one's actually faster than that. And so, if this instant wire is traveling thousands of blocks, if I was using just regular old redstone repeaters, the amount of delay would become significant, and I might have to wait a number of seconds before I can actually get the signal to go all the way through. And of course, the way to fix that, of course, is using instant wire. This design, I will leave a link to in the description. I'm not going to explain it, but it basically is an extension, an extension-based design where this piston right here is blocking this redstone signal from this line, and the moment it receives a signal from a source, it will push forward this block, instantly completing the connection between this redstone line here and this one, and the signal cascades to the next one, which does the same thing. This all happens in one tick, one redstone tick, so that's why it's instant. And of course it works both ways, because this redstone line behaves the same way as this redstone line coming this way. So it's a two-directional instant wire repeater, which is, again, an ingenious design, because it is incredibly hard to make two-directional instant wire, and it's also incredibly hard to make two-directional instant wire that is relatively cheap. The cost to travel one block, like one block of wire using this instant design is roughly 1.46 redstone per block, which is very, very, very good compared to other designs that can be well above 2 redstone per block when you put everything into consideration. I'm not going to be using this design exactly. I made a slight modification to it that is a little bit more efficient. The one I'm using is 1.2 redstone per block, and it's basically the same design as the Gunmaster Digital, only I took out the extra pistons on the side that create the instant retraction. So I plan on using these redstone signals instantly one way, but then when the signal dies, it will take a second or two for all of the pistons to reset themselves for a new redstone signal to go through. If you guys are curious about how redstone wire works, I will put the link in the description. And of course, I encourage you guys to do your own research as well and kind of discover it for yourselves. There are many different designs, some that are based on improving lag, some that are based on reducing the number of resources used. Like this one uses little redstone, but it's one-directional instant wire, so it only works one way. And I've also done additional testing on my own, where I made really, really, really long lines of instant wire that go into unloaded chunks, and only a small number of them are actually capable of carrying a signal through, and I have yet to find a design that can actually reset itself correctly. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, and you have a redstone instant wire design that can travel through unloaded chunks and can repair itself after you send the signal through the unloaded chunks, let me know. I would definitely be interested in that, so I can make instant wire that goes through unloaded chunks. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop back into the Let's Play world, and I will show you guys how I'm going to connect the different Enderporter systems. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Alright everybody, so welcome back. So I just spent a lot of time hooking up all the redstone, and everything is working perfectly. So I now have a Enderporter that goes to the village. So if I press this button right here, in just about a second or two, it instantly teleports me over to the village. As you can see here, I am inside the village, and it is indeed nighttime. Yep. So super duper fast way of getting to the village. And then if I want to go back, I just head back down to this room, and I take the ender pearl that was handed to me by this dispenser, toss it down there. Make sure you always do that when you're done using the Enderporter. So you always have an ender pearl waiting for you. And if I want to go back to the bunker, I just press this button, boom, get teleported instantly. And there you go. I'm back here where I started. And I got another ender pearl. I just got to toss it down here. And we're all set. And then when I want to go somewhere else, I just press the next button. So next I'm going to add an Enderporter that goes to my cottage, and then I'll probably add an Enderporter that also goes to spawn, and then eventually I might add other Enderporters that go farther. So I'm hoping that I can get an Enderporter that goes to the village, like I already have, so I can go to the village. Actually, why don't we just do that real quick? So here I am at the village, and then from here, I would ideally like to be able to teleport all the way to the ice farm, if you guys know where that is. It's way, way, way over here in this direction. My only fear is I normally keep my chunks at 16, right? And you can see that the mountains don't generate 16 that far away. So if I just turn my render distance up to like 24 here, you might, there it is. So that's the very edge of the mountain right there. A few more chunks load. Yeah, so I could probably make an Enderporter, because the ice farm is literally right there. I could probably make an Enderporter that goes that distance and up into the mountain. That wouldn't be a difficulty. The difficulty is the chunks are not going to be loaded normally. So I either need to find a way to get this to work in unloaded chunks. If any of you guys know how to do that, please shoot me a message. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a secondary Enderporter like somewhere under the water or in that hillside right over there. So it'd be like I have to make 3 hops in order to get to this one, which is kind of an interesting way of looking at it. It's actually very similar to how the internet works. It's like you have information traveling from one place to another. You have to make hops from one location to the next, and each time the signal gets repeated. That's kind of what's going on here with this Enderporter network. So, but anyways, if any of you guys can figure out a way to send like a reliable instant wire system that goes through unloaded chunks, please let me know. I'm definitely looking for a way to do that. But with my 16 chunk render distance, which is the one I typically go with, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. It might. Those chunks might be loaded. I have no idea, but I'd have to test that later on my own. But for right now, we're just going to go with places we know for a fact will be loaded. So let's head back to the bunker. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Cool. And then the next thing on the list is going to be the cottage. And finally, of course, I want to have a place going to spawn. I want to be able to get to and from spawn, so if I die, I don't have to, walk a long distance. I can just instantly teleport my way over here. And then think of this place as just like the central hub. It's like this hub that reaches out to all the other parts in the network. Obviously, you can't go everywhere from here. Like, I couldn't go directly to the ice farm from here. Ideally, I could, but I think there might be a way I could even teleport longer distances if I can figure out a way to do unloaded chunks by simply sending a redstone signal through the nether, if that makes sense. You can send a redstone signal into the nether using an item, right? So you can shoot an item through a portal, and then that item would trigger, going through the portal would trigger a redstone signal when it gets through a hopper. Maybe you can have like a comparator detecting that, and then that signal would get repeated down instant wire, which would travel through more unloaded chunks in the nether until it gets to the very end, and then it go back through the portal. Like, there's a lot of ideas I have, but I can't seem to make them work. So if you guys have any ideas or anything that you know of that would work for sending signals, instant wire signals, long distances, let me know. But for now, we're just going to have this small little network. And this is going to be super duper nice once I get everything working, because then I can just get from one place to another without having to climb this stupid ladder every single time I want to come here. So yeah, stay tuned, and I will finish all that up. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you guys the redstone. So I have this little access door back here, just using a little redstone torch, and as you can see, it's very simple and it works. And that's how I get back here. And then I just kind of cleared out this whole area. I haven't added the redstone for all the selectors, just the ones I'm going to use. So we have pistons here. The piston, when you press the button, it pushes downward with the redstone block. And then if you head down here, you can see that that redstone block, that one right there, goes down on towards this block right here, and on top of that block is a little piece of redstone. That wire goes over here to this contraption here. This is a one-directional. This is a one-way to two-way redstone wire signal generator, if that makes sense. The best way to think about it is this redstone wire right here, down here, is two-directional. I can use it to send a signal to a location using these instant wire pistons I showed you previously, or I can use it to send a signal from the village going through these instant wire repeaters back here in this way. But basically, I want this redstone repeater right here to only trigger when the signal is coming from the village. So when I'm sending a signal to the village, both of these repeaters get activated, which locks this redstone repeater, but it sends the signal down this wire. So even though the signal will go into the redstone repeater, it will get locked, which I can show you very quickly if I power those pistons real fast. Okay, so let's say we have a redstone signal that's being generated. Oops, as you can see, I just got teleported. I probably should have disconnected that. Let me fix the issue real fast. Okay, I had to run back and forth a couple times, but I fixed it. So anyways, I'm just going to temporarily cut this wire so that I don't get teleported to the village. But basically the way that this works is there is a redstone signal generated by that piston, which activates these two redstone repeaters. And basically when the button releases and the piston is raised, this redstone repeater will give us very short one-tick pulse. And that one-tick pulse will travel through this redstone line all the way up here to this torch, and because it's a one-tick pulse, it's too fast for the torch to change its state, and so this repeater remains on and the torch stays on. It's only when you get a signal of 2 ticks or longer that the torch's signal will change. So that is a one-directional signal generator, if you will, from a two-directional line. Because it uses that little mechanic there where the torch only gets triggered on a 2 or more tick pulse, if that makes sense. So anyways, I can go ahead and remove this and put things back the way they were. And I already showed you guys how to make those repeaters. Again, I highly suggest you take a look at Gunman Digital's actual redstone contraption. It is the whole design, not just the half design that I made, because it's really an impressive work of art, if you ask me. Okay, welcome back everybody. So while I was gone, I finished the rest of the Enderporter network, so everything is working nicely. I have routes that take me to the village, cottage, to my main cottage, and back to, all the way to spawn, believe it or not. I hooked everything up, so it's working nicely. It's a little bit of delay, but otherwise it does take you back. As you can see, you just have to wait a second or two, and then it works, and here I am back at the spawn area. And then if I want to go back, I just press this button and get back to the bunker, and it's an instant teleport back. I just have to wait for it to close, and then I can throw my thing, and here I am back at the bunker. So I can instantly teleport now to all the areas that I need to get to quite often. And I can show you some of the redstone I actually did. For the route to the cottage, I actually used 2 redstone lines. So I used this downwards instant wire setup with using walls, and then basically this observer detects when the walls update. There's like a piston up there that pushes a block on top of the walls, and it turns them into like posts, and then the observer detects that, makes a signal, and that goes all the way down to this piston setup, which will pulse the Enderporter. And then to send the signal upwards, I am using a piston going outwards, going to this line, which goes up to this redstone torch, which powers a slime block instant wire setup. So basically the pistons are extended, and when this torch turns off, they'll all instantly retract as like an instant retraction setup, and that goes to the Enderporter at the cottage. So everything is hooked up and working nicely, and I can get around very easily. So Yeah, it's definitely nice to have, and I'm using it much more often. Another thing I did off camera is I did a whole bunch of end city hunting, and I finally found a pair of elytra. So I can finally fly around the world now. I can go. It's much easier to go end city hunting now because I don't have to bridge across a huge void and lose all my stuff. And I got some more shulker boxes too, so I'm definitely kitted out, and I'm very happy to have those shulker boxes. Um, Definitely will make moving things around much easier. I just did a little bit of tidying up around down here. I moved some of these chests back, recessed in the wall, so that they're not in the way and not quite so in the face, if you will, so I can collect items or whatever I need to do small, and I'm building items I can keep in these chests, but they're also kind of hidden and out of the way for me. So cleaned up all the chests around here, closed up everything, and then one of the big things I did was I went ahead and cleaned up and fixed the carrot and potato farms. So as you can see here, I took one of the villagers and I stuck him back there in the wall, and basically he is bait for this guy to throw carrots at him, and of course it's going to hit that fence post around there and it's actually going to fall down. And I actually set up one of these down here as well, using the other two villagers. But basically, as you can see here, the potatoes, he throws them at this villager, but it gets in the way of the fence, and then they fall down into this hole, and then I'm going to have an item collection system that will pick up these carrots and potatoes in the future. But as you can see, I also saw the guy throw carrots down here too, so the system is working, and then this downwards, these lower levels here, will be activated once I place down some blocks. One of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about was the item collection system that I currently have using minecarts. I recently uploaded a video, I think it was episode 31, where I was telling you guys about this, like all this redstone and all this crazy stuff I had to do to get the minecarts to work, and it is working. Like, these systems are like, the minecart comes here, it collects items, and then when it starts to get full, this piston releases and it continues on its way. And so like the minecart is moving, but it's not moving fast enough. Like, there is not enough space in the minecart to collect all of the items it needs to collect fast enough, and so it's backing up in these systems and not getting collected because minecarts transfer items so slowly, because you have to wait for the items to go in, and then you have to wait for the items to get out, and it's just rather slow. So one of the things I think I'm going to do is tear out this entire system and replace it with a item water flowing item system. So basically the items will get transported in water streams, and then it'll be like a standard item sorting system from there. I actually have plans for what I'm going to do with the storage system. I have some plans I think you guys are really going to like. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but stay tuned for the next episode and you'll get to see. It's basically a 3-in-1 storage system, so it's going to have 3 different elements all incorporated together, so it'll have a lot more functionality than the one we have here, and I think it'll be a lot more useful to me, because I keep having problems with my item storage system, and I keep having problems with this minecart collection system. So I will go ahead and between episodes I will get started on tearing out all of these rails and everything and replacing it with water streams, and it'll be very useful. So yeah, stay tuned and you guys will get to see that. I think you guys are going to love it. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this content, please definitely consider leaving a like on the video. I always appreciate it. It encourages me to keep making videos. And if you guys really like the content, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. I'm always coming up with new ideas, and I'm always like to share them with you guys. So definitely, yes, please consider subscribing and leaving a like on the video. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy, everybody.